Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the ASUS ROG DreamLeague Season 3 here on the casting desk with myself and Draskell. We're ready to get ourselves as the first game of the first series of the day. Na'Vi up against the side of Ninjas in Pyjamas, and well Andy, they've got the Funnic Bounty Hunter and a hero that was very strong yesterday.
Yeah, they do indeed. And I was thinking about the combination of the Bounty Hunter Shadow Demon first picks. Now, we know that Chen is a first phase ban material pretty much every single game, especially with the addition of his new Holy Persuasion, which gives the earlier creeps a bit more health, or I should say the weaker ones. It gives them a lower threshold of HP.
700 HP from the off.
So that hero is just banned constantly. The only other jungle hero that is normally available is Enchantress, and she also gets picked fairly often. So what is a really strong opening that allows you to secure an offlaner for a hero that is very good in anticipation of possibly seeing an Enchantress out from the other team? So it makes them not... There's no incentive to pick the Enchantress if you're in NIP right now, because they realize the Bounty matchup versus the Enchantress is already good. And also, Beastmaster is prevalent in this patch as well, and Shadow Demon is great against Beastmaster. So if you're already picking an offlane, you clearly wouldn't want to pick Beastmaster and Bounty together because the other team would be able to counter with a Shadow Demon. So you pick the Shadow Demon to make sure that if you wanted to get Beastmaster later, you could, but they also wouldn't want to pick it because you first picked Shadow Demon. Now this is overly theory crafting, right?
But I'm sure they're doing
just
that.
like, that's what I'm thinking when I see it.
It makes a lot of sense, as you said. It's two very strong picks that, as you said, essentially force the other team to be very careful about what kind of hand they want to lay down this game.
Yeah.
Bans coming out, they ban out the Slardar, take that away from the side of Ninjas in Pyjamas, and Nip, they do ban the Lina, a hero that we're seeing a little less of nowadays.
Well, it's two heroes that are a very good combination with the Shadow Demon. So either one could be run in a support capacity or even a core. And Na'Vi actually going back for the Undying, so maybe leaning more towards of a 2-1-2 in this particular game. And I feel like maybe the Undying is picked a touch early, even with the Gyrocopter still being banned out, because there's already a Queen. And Rubik, yeah, okay, the Tombstone is good against him, but it's not as if they have two very weak and squishy supports that have already been taken out. And we don't even know what their safe lane farming hero is going to be out of Nip. So maybe jumping the gun a tiny bit with the Undying pick, because right now they don't have any disables either. So there's nothing to really keep them fighting around the Tombstone. It just seems like picking Undying for the sake of picking Undying.
Yeah, and that's true. And we talking about disables. That was kind of the lackluster of the drafts yesterday. We saw games where Weevil was picked up, and I don't think there was a single stun. And also a game where they had both Ember Spirit and Storm Spirit in the draft, and against it, again, very little control. So maybe a hero like that, someone that relies on a lot of mobility, would be good for Nip. But they're going to opt for the Bristleback instead here in their draft.
I do like the Bristle. It's a direct answer to an Undying. It says, if we end up laning together, you can actually kind of man fight, probably not as well as some other heroes. Like Ursa, for example, is one that comes to mind in being able to kill the Tombstone very quickly, although he's not as good as he used to be because of the change of his ultimate, but still pretty decent. I'm curious to know what Na'Vi's lanes are actually going to be. Are they just going to go and aggro Trilane with Shadow Demon Undying +1, and then have the Bounty Hunter in a solo capacity, and then pick a last hero for Dendi, I suppose? Because that's kind of what I'm thinking right now.
Reserve time.
Yeah, it's an interesting one indeed, having the Shadow Demon Undying and the Bounty Hunter. But maybe with the fourth pick from Na'Vi, it'll be a little bit clearer what the whole grand plan is. It's going to be the Storm Spirit picked up, so obviously we assume that to be the Dendi Storm in the mid lane. So still not really giving away from the
Havos does play Storm
sometimes.
Yeah. I'm not sure if it's... The Storm versus Queen matchup is actually terrible for Storm in the first 5 or 6 levels. Once you get to 6, it's not so bad, but the Queen should, by all rights, dominate that lane if it ends up being the 1 versus 1 matchup. But it could also be just a core and just be like safe lane or something like that. I mean, if they wanted to run it aggressive, it probably wouldn't be too bad, but he would take a very long time to hit 6. So I'm not sure if that's the way they want to do this.
Okay. NIP now with the Bristleback. Obviously one of those heroes again that can be put into a variety of different positions. We saw it in the mid lane, we've seen it in the safe lane, and most often in the off lane. With the quad picked up as well, there's a lot of potential for Ninjas in Pyjamas to react to lanes of Na'Vi. They're going to pick themselves up an Earthshaker here. And again, with that hero, we've arguably seen it more often than not in the solo offlane position.
It could be the offlaner here, for sure. The one concern that I'm having is they keep picking heroes that have to fight the Tombstone. So when Undying was picked, there was only Queen and Rubik being shown. And Bristleback, I feel, is okay, but none of these heroes outside of the Queen have a real escape mechanism, so the zombies are going to be a problem. Okay. They're going to need something that actually can kill Tombstone, because right now the only person who can really tank it up too much is that Bristleback, and if it's an Earthshaker that they decide to run as a core, which is still a possibility because they could do 2-1-2, then you can use Enchant Totem to kill the Totem and that would be fine, or the Tombstone. But looks like, from the looks of things, Na'Vi are expecting a solo last pick, so they're thinking the Shaker and the Rubik are definitely going to be in the support capacity here, and we're probably going to be seeing a tri-lane out of Nip.
Okay, well, we'll see what Nip do anticipate from Na'Vi. As you were saying with their lineup, I mean, what do you think is the most likely kind of lane situations we'll see Na'Vi's drafting?
See, I really think it's still going to be Storm mid.
Okay.
I still think that the Undying and the Shadow Demon are going to be together pretty much no matter where they go, but I find it hard to believe that you would pick an Undying without the intention of going aggressive. So I think the Bounty Hunter and the Storm will just be solo, and the Bounty Hunter might be safe lane, and Na'Vi might pick a hero to go aggressive with and pick some kind of range carry, or anything that can actually fight 3 versus 3. Because Undying Shadow Demon +1 is still a pretty good tri-lane, as Ninjas in Pyjamas tri-lane doesn't really deal a lot of burst. It takes a long time for Bristleback to get you down low with just Quill spam. And of course, if you buy Magic Stick against that lane, it's like the god tier item, right? You just have infinite mana. So we'll see what hero they're going to put there. They could opt to put the Storm in that lane, and then just decide to try to pick something else for Dendi that he can 1v1 against the Queen with. But we'll see. Invoker is actually not too bad if they did some clowny like Storm tri-lane, but I don't think that's going to be it. Okay, it's going to be Jug.
Okay, and now with that, still the potential for that to go aggressive, or do you feel they'll play that safe with the Undying and Shadow Demon?
It can actually go aggressive with Jug, Undying, Shadow Demon, because against Bristleback, you're not really going to kill the Jug. You get Healing Ward. You have infinite wand charges if you ever decide to go on the Bristleback, and you can just make sure that your tri-lane never dies. And just being able to pressure, that means that there is less of a chance for the Shaker and the Rubik to roam on the Storm, which is good because you don't want your Storm getting roamed on prior to 6.
That's true.
Because that matchup is actually terrible for the Storm anyway. So if he gets roamed and you're against Queen, it's going to be a really hard game for him. So I'm imagining that this is just going to be some kind of aggressive lane. Or at the very least, meet Nip's tri-lane wherever they go. Like you want to just match up against them.
Yeah, I mean, if that ends up what they're going to be doing, and maybe for the side of Ninjas in Pyjamas, but I mean, do you think it will be the Bristleback in that position one then with the Earthshaker and Rubik rather than being on his own?
Yeah, I think it'll be Bristleback core. And then last pick here, just something that can solo, really. I mean, he's going to be up against the Bounty Hunter, so there's actually quite a few heroes that you could pick in this situation. The clock's not that good. Okay, SF.
So the co-op on the offlane. So SF against the Storm in the mid lane is what we're going to anticipate.
A much better matchup for Dendi than the Queen, for sure. But the Queen against the Bounty is actually...
Oh, it's error on the SF, so it's probably going to be Limp still in the mid lane, a position 1 Shadow Fiend and an off-lane Bristleback, because Jonas and fans picked up the Bristleback here.
It's still going to be a tri-lane. Like, Era is just their Shadow Fiend player. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, Era's Shadow Fiend is very, very good. So either one. Like, it could actually be off-lane Queen, it could be mid-Queen with farming SF and then dual off-lane. Like, there's a lot of things they can do. But if it ends up being a tri-lane from Na'Vi, and it's just like a Shaker and a Shadow Fiend, that lane's going to have a hard time. That's why I don't think it's going to be Shadow Fiend anywhere other than mid. But we'll see.
Indeed, as we get the final hero picked up there for the side of Na'Vi. So it is that Funnic Bounty Hunter. You know, obviously Na'Vi, they've not been having the best of times in league play, but in the games that they've done well, obviously one of them, they did have the Funnic Bounty Hunter, and it was quite something. So we'll see if he's able to bring his A game again today. And obviously Dendi Storm and Havorst on his Juggernaut. 2 hero player combinations that are also very strong indeed. But NIP, Era on this SF, one of the heroes he's arguably most comfortable on. So we'll see indeed what comes out from both sides as we get ourselves into the first game here of this first 2-game series between NIP and Na'Vi. On the side of NIP, we're going to have Sealkid on the Rubik. It's going to be Jonas Sumfam on his Bristleback, Era on the Shadow Fiend, and finally leaves both hands Ken on the Earthshaker. And of course, down in this bottom lane at the moment, Limp on his Queen of Pain. Andy, what are we seeing from Na'Vi?
Well, Funnic, first off, he's going to be handling this Bounty Hunter here. And we're going to see Dendi handling the Storm. Near top lane is Havorst playing Juggernaut. And Artstyle going to be playing Undying. And then finally, Sonico is going to be playing the Shadow Demon.
Okay. See the side of Na'Vi rotate towards this top ring. They want to try and secure it. Havorst moving in very aggressively, just trying to force them back. He's already skilled up the Blade Fury as well, so he's ready for that level 1 fight. Funnick is going to spot out both Limp and Error here towards this bottom rune. And he's going to try and go for the old little steal. Seal Kid's there ready. It's going to be a cheeky one, and they did see him pop the invisibility there, so they know that the Bounty Hunter's around. So they'll be very, very ready if he did try and go for it. But now Funnick's going to let the side of Nip grab that one. Top lane, they will be able to secure the rune for Dendi. And if we have a look at his buzz, that giving them the straight up bottle. No, okay, he started off with a null talisman, so still a way to go, but always nice to get your bounty on your mid laner.
Well, the thing is, when you get a bounty rune as a mid, you make sure that level 2, or yeah, your level 2 is after the first 2 melee creeps die. I think you still get it even if he denies 1. Maybe it's a tiny bit shorter level 2, but no matter what, they're looking to get this Shadow Fiend as good a start as possible. And Funnick is actually just kind of chilling here mid as well. I think he'll probably just end up going up top, and I guess they are trying to lane against the Queen.
Yeah, I think they're trying to avoid the jug from the Bristleback by the looks of it. But obviously on the top lane for NRP, we've got Bristleback and Earthshaker at the moment. They've taken the
Courier, jeez. That snipe attempt.
That was yeah, but on the edge of the seats there for the
nice awareness though from Nip. Oh wait, he hit a creep? Never mind, JK.
Okay.
Alright, well, there you go.
There we go.
And sometimes, like, I don't watch the preview screen, so I'm watching, like, the other stuff, so I guess he misclicked.
Yeah, I don't watch the preview screen either.
Yeah, it's right in front of you. That's all you watch. You liar.
Oh, here we go. Weppers with his fantastic camera work now. Shout out to Weppers, of course. He's been doing all the camera work for this series, apart from the days we had Scriff, but we don't like to talk about those days.
Well, poor Scriff. He didn't even deserve that, but we can talk a little bit on the lanes. It seems like right now, the Rubik is just kind of hanging around mid to make sure that Era gets somewhat of a decent start. Once he gets his souls going, it's not super easy for Na'Vi to gank him until the Storm finally hits level 6. And Seal Kid can also do some jungle stacking for the SF. The middle lane is very nice for Radiant side when it comes to Shadow Fiend because you can very easily stack the medium and the large camp. It doesn't take any time at all to walk over there. And they are prioritizing this lane fairly heavily from Nip. They even want to try to go for a kill here, but I can see some pings out from Sonico, so Na'Vi know that the Shaker's in the vicinity.
Yeah, indeed. Indeed. Playing very, very safe here, keeping himself back behind that tier 1. So far, CS-wise in the mid lane, doing very well for himself. 8 for 3 against the 6 for 5 of Era. Very close indeed, but as you said, we will expect to see the Shadow Fiend excel in terms of farm, but arguably the Storm, obviously a more mobile hero. We expect to see a lot more activity from Dendi towards the mid game. And well, Sonico is going to spot out Hansken. Hansken's still going to throw down a Fisher, will catch Dendi. Seal Kid can't quite get in range though for the telekinesis, and Dendi will be alright here.
Hey, he's got his bottle now too, so it's not too bad. The Juggernaut, in the meantime, is still farming very well. Can see the art style Undying as being a huge nuisance. 300 health, Queen of Pain. Pretty decent, as one of the decay stacks finally falls off. But I was kind of curious as to why they were so vigilant about not going up against Jonas on the Bristleback. But I guess, like, this matchup, high armor hero and the Bounty Hunter, 7 base armor with a magic stick and no detection on the bristle. There's pretty much 0 chance that he dies, so it's kind of just like Funnick gets his track for free in this lane, and he'll trade a little bit of farm as well with the bristles. So everything considered, I think Navi's lanes maybe slightly better.
Shaker trying to throw down a Fisher, was cancelled there by the disruption. He still gets it out, lands onto 2, but Dendi's there with the slow. And this might be your first blood going on Hansken, and it will be indeed. Sonico secures that. Does Dendi pay with his life though? Seal Kid and Era are here, but now Seal Kid's got to run. Sonico and Dendi just turn towards him. Era's come in, that will scare Dendi away. There is a raise available in a second for Era. He could try and get Dendi. Is going to be enough damage. He goes for it. It's not quite enough to bring down the Storm Spirit. Dendi's going to be okay. It might be a different situation there for Sonico. There's a Fisher from Hansken. They do find the return kill there onto the Shadow Demon, but first blood going to Na'Vi.
That was actually very close to being an Ancient Deny, as one of the auto attacks from Era actually missed up onto the high ground. So if the Fissure hadn't been there, he probably would have been able to go over and just deny to neutrals. So very nice that Nip were able to get something out of it. Na'Vi at the end, they pull out with the first blood. And I'm not really sure why Sonico actually decided to go back anyway, because a level 2 raise does not kill with the amount of health that Dendi had. So I kind of think he just died for no reason. But we'll say that he was trying to save Dendi.
Well, Jonas and Fan turns up and he's got dust in his pocket. Funnick trying to run away from this one, but Hansken is there with the body blocking very nicely. This is going to be Funnick going down. And I'm not sure if he might not have noticed that Jonas and Fan had dust there.
He
but
just sent it out. Like, yeah, he picked it up and like popped it immediately and just went on him. So very nice.
Well, going to see very aggressive movement here from Sonico. Shadow Demon was going into the Radiant jungle, seeing if he could spot anything out. But Vorst, he's been having a lot of space down here. Top of the CS at the moment, 24 for 8, having a very nice lane, thanks to the start that the Undying gave him, of course, harassing back that Queen of Pain.
It's very difficult to gank this Juggernaut as well with these types of heroes. You need some kind of hard disable or an Orchid, and then you need to burst hard. So the Queen needs a couple more levels, probably. And given the start that Limp has had, he's not going to be having that early Orchid at the top.
Oh, Hanscan, he tried to TB out, but the Shuriken is there. They finish him off there with the Art-Style Soul Rip. And, oh, very nice use, of course, dropping that Tombstone, kicking off the fight as Funnick got himself in position. Will get Na'Vi another kill on the board.
That's really nice. I mean, the 1v1 kill that Jonas had was really good. And he wants to go in here. He has one bottle charge left.
I was going to say, he's got to be careful because he's not got a lot of health. But look at that nuke there from the level 3 Shuriken. Instantly taking away over 50% of his health.
Yeah, but look at the sal value when you have all those decay stacks.
That's true.
Just heals you right back to full no matter what health you're at. So, yeah, Jonas is doing pretty well here. Is he going to try to get the top rune, though? Because I think they are pressuring here pretty hard. Looks like Seal Kid's in the vicinity as well. Maybe trying to secure him that top rune. We'll see.
Oh, Starly's got a Tombstone again in 10 seconds. Trying to get the decays thrown down, but there's a bit of a wraparound coming in.
Oh, no.
Nice Fissure there onto Art-Style, but it's on... Well, I say nice Fissure. No,
that was
not. It was the opposite
reverse
of nice.
Fissure.
Pushing him onto the side that favors... Nice for Na'Vi.
Yes.
You know.
Very nice for Na'Vi. They're going to go for the top rune. Oh, it's an Invis. Oh, unfortunate.
They've got a sentry. They're ready for this, but Snako will be able to ward this one off. Oh, they got a dust. No, Jonas found out his second dust. The pocket sand comes out. He will disrupt himself here, but there's 4 heroes on the side of NRP, so Nako's not going anywhere. Bristleback able to claim the kill there.
That's space, man. Space created. Got the rune. 4 people top. That's just like NASA levels of space right there. Your middle player, he has only been attempted on a gank like 1 time, I think, when they had the Shaker sitting mid, and everything else has been A-okay. He's now level 6. They want to go on Seal Kid.
Mid lane, indeed. Straight away here, zipping forward onto Seal Kid. They get the slow, and there we go. Forward again. Dendy will find the kill there with the help of Snako. Now with the disruption holding error in place, they could look for round 2. Dendy still got half of his mana pool left. Will zip up to the high ground, gets in there on error. It is enough. He does fall. Is it going to be a double kill with Snako as he finds it with the poison? Snako getting low hit to the tower hits. Will just be able to get himself out on very, very low HP. But a big kill there from the side of Na'Vi, allowing them to get error as soon as the Bull Lightning comes online for Dendy.
There's a lot of heroes in the game that Dendy can kind of bully here. And speaking of being bullied, Funnick getting chased down here. Is there a dust? Yep, there is.
This man and his dust. I mean, this is what you do against a bounty hunter, isn't it, Trasker? You pick up dust and then you kill him.
Yeah, pretty much. It's been working out fairly well. I mean, after seeing the really big engagement mid, Jonas just decided he could go for that kill. 1 raise onto Art-Style here, make it 2. Can he go for the 3rd?
This is a very
Wait, where's the
Jonas fan, he's got no health though. He tries to go for Quill Spray, says, nah, I'm not diving that one. No, he's got to keep himself safe. If he turned around and decayed in the Soul Rip, that would have been a dead Bristle. So.
Well, just the decay would have killed him, actually.
Yeah. It was pretty low.
It's nighttime though, so I'm not even sure if he had seen him in the first place.
Dire's top tower is
We're going to see a few TPs in onto the bottom lane now. Seeing if they can catch out Limp here. Funnick leading the way. Here we go, straight onto him, forcing him to blink back, but already Tsuneko's there in position, has the disruption into Soul Catcher. The Shuriken flying through should be enough for the Blade Fury. Limp goes down there. Fisher will be thrown out, but of course, he's going to be able to walk around that one. So again, a very nice pick-off there for Na'Vi, taking down Limp on his Quap, who's at the moment been having a pretty good game.
The big problem for Nip right now is the Bounty Hunter is level 7, so even if Funnick dies like 2 times in a 1v1, whatever, like the Bristleback's going to have a little bit more farm, but the amount of farm acceleration that Funnick's going to give them middle lane.
Dendy straight in, Tombstones there as well from Art-Style. Now Jonathan fans coming to try and fight, but Dendy's still got the mana. He could try and go really aggressive, and he certainly will. Straight out to Bristleback, there'll be a TP coming in, but it doesn't matter. Bristleback's already dead, and now Limp jumping forward with the Scream and the value Sonic Wave there to bring down the Storm Spirit.
That was actually a huge misplay. He could have killed 2 heroes there.
Oh, Hanscan gets disrupted. Vorst is chasing this one down as the backup of Funnick, trying to get a track out, and a track out will go. This is going to be more track gold into the pockets of Na'Vi, and another big kill there. I believe over the course of that last minute, 4 heroes dropping on NRP, Na'Vi just losing Dendy.
Yeah, the Shadow Fiend is going to get bullied very hard by the Storm. That's just how the matchup works. Like, once the Storm hits level 6, you just all of a sudden can't really go to lane anymore. And Dendy has been very good with his Overload procs. He's always getting in range, making sure all the remnants deal damage. He still hasn't skilled me into pull, but he's shown that he doesn't need it because of the amount of damage that he does is just too much for Era to deal with. So Still, Nip kind of struggling in the early game. Era's still farming okay, but he's going to need to get his treads finished and a mech up really soon if he doesn't want to just keep dying to this combo that Na'Vi have.
And Havor still top of the net worth ball, coming to 4K. Has indeed got that Omni Slash, so it's going to be very hard for the side of NIP to come into lane and disrupt his farm. They're going to have to commit quite a lot if they want to stop the Jug at this point. And it looks like they want to focus their attentions towards the mid lane. We see NIP wrapping around here with a smoke gank, Seal Kid, Hands, Ken, and Limp. Just seeing if anyone was going to come down and contest this 10-minute rune, but there's no one there. They're going to head into the Dire's jungle, but Na'Vi, they're all over the side of NIP.
It's interesting. They're going to go for a loop around here. They do have one ward on the high ground towards mid, and Sonico is tanking creeps under the tower, but this is a very risky gank for just a support. I don't even know if this is advised.
Na'Vi might start to become aware of this now as they've been off the map for quite a while, and they're standing and they're waiting. They don't have the Sonic Wave for 30 seconds. But
they don't have vision. That's the bigger problem.
Sonico, he's playing super safe. He knows he'll throw out poison, but he's keeping himself the right side of the tower. And are they going to be successful with this gank? NIP, they're trying to move in and rotate round, but this is a lot of time wasted for NIP, and for the time being, nothing coming of it. Funnick thinking about heading to the high ground, but there is a sentry there, and Funnick realizes it's probably is in his best interest not to wander straight under the feet of the side of NIP up there.
That's the danger zone. He's going to realize it too. They're pinging him out. He's in sentry range.
Tombstone gets dropped. Na'Vi say you want to fight on the hill? We'll fight on the hill. We see Limp going straight onto Funnick, but Dendy's coming in onto Seal Kid. That's one track kill. Hansken walks away, but they're looking who to go for. They're going to go for the Earthshaker. Dendy zipping forward with the burst damage from the Remnants and the Overload. They'll bring him down as well as Earthshaker falls, and now they look towards Jonas and Fan. They've got the Omni Slash straight onto the Bristleback. Bristleback falls. It's 12-5. 3 heroes dying on the side of NIP. Maybe more the ultimate from Shadow Demon thrown down onto Era, but looks like Na'Vi aren't in a position to dive any deeper. Limp was there waiting and ready on the high ground with the Sonic Wave, but more track kills going to the side of Na'Vi. And that essentially was a bit of action that was set up by NIP. You know, a good minute or so, they were standing on that cliff waiting for something to happen. I don't think that was the kind of action they were waiting for.
No, definitely not. I mean, like I said, they had no vision, so they knew that Sonico was there because he tanked some creeps, but they don't have any vision in their own jungle. So Na'Vi were sitting in Nip's jungle, and Nip were sitting in Navi's jungle, but Na'Vi actually knew that they were just sitting high ground because they also had vision of pretty much the entirety of the river, and no one else was showing, so how could they possibly be anywhere else but for the one hero who was on the map?
Lane. They want to go in, they've dropped down the Tombstone here. This looks like this time NIP will keep their distance. Limp, he's been caught out by Funnick and Havors. He's already blinked and the crits come through. Havors bringing down Limp. And Na'Vi, this get 13-5 at the moment. It's looking like it's a tough start here for NIP.
Man, each track kill is so much, like 750 gold and 700 experience between two heroes for one kill. Like, that is a gigantic amount to gain through just killing one core hero who's already not really had the greatest of times having to go up against a dual lane bottom. So Nip grouping up here, potentially going to be pushing into the tier 1 safe lane of Na'Vi, and Na'Vi going for the tier 1 mid. And in terms of tower trade, still better to kill a mid tier 1 than it is for a safe lane tier 1 to die. So Nip, not really, they're not giving away it for nothing, but it's not really a great trade either. They just realize that fighting right now is too hard.
Look at this at the same time, Na'Vi taking the mid tier 1, also looking towards Roshan, straight in there, both Havors and Funnick hitting away. And we're going to have a pause come out from Artstar. He asked for a second, we'll give him a second, but no longer.
Well, the time is up if that's the case.
Yeah,
we're liars now.
This has been a few seconds.
You just made me a liar by association.
We're closing in on a minute.
Okay, it hasn't. It's been like 10 seconds.
I think but this is. Oh, we've been paused for so long, Andy. I can't even remember what was going on this game.
Are we watching Dota?
Are we out of the beta?
I think so. I mean, the bug list is still like 1,000 bugs long, but we are out of the beta.
Just think about how long that list was when the game first came out, Andy.
I don't remember actually how long it was, because I didn't even know it existed until Bruno told me. He's like, oh yeah, there's a list of bugs you can look at. And I was like, oh, really cool. And then I just looked at them one day and I was like, wow, there's a lot of them. And then I closed it and then I just never looked at it again. So hopefully nothing too bad is going on here for Na'Vi. Maybe his grandma called.
Maybe. Who was that? Who was that?
That was
game?
Swindle and Seafreak. They're brothers. They're on Complexity.
Yes, it was Complexity, wasn't it? Classic Complexity, that. Right, can we have a pause? My granda's on the phone. There we go. Havors apologising. Nice of them.
The manner.
the mana pause, and well, we're back in, and we're back on. Havorst, Funnick, continuing to work away at Roshan. And NIP at the moment, we've got 3 of them in the sides, well, the Na'Vi's jungle, and very far away, of course, from the Roshan pit. No vision, as you were saying earlier, still down here at all for NIP. So, A, they're not really going to know, and B, they don't really want to contest Na'Vi at this point.
Yeah, even if they had vision, this is a tough fight to take. Their Shadow Fiend needs an item, for sure. Era has actually opted out of going for his mechanism build, and he's just going to go for BKB, which I think is fair. The only problem is going BKB first against Juggernaut. Like, if you get caught out with a bad Omni, you're still going to die. Like, BKB doesn't remove Soul Catcher, so you're still going to be taking amplified damage. It's kind of a rough game for the Shadow Fiend. And I understand why they picked it, and the matchup mid actually favored Era in terms of just overall farm. But once Dendi hit 6, they weren't able to kill him at all prior to him getting his ultimate. And once that happens, it's just
look at this.
It's too difficult to deal with.
Look at that Sentry Ward, and in the mid lane, just out of range.
Yeah, that's painful. But the Sentry Ward does say the Dire Wards, so.
Yes, I mean, yeah, outside of NIP, we'll be able to get the Radiant Observer. Yeah, that's true. Sorry, the Dire Observer Ward, get Na'Vi's Observer Ward. But still, 13 for 5 at the moment, 14 minutes in. The farm still looking very healthy for the side of Na'Vi with Havorst on 7.3k gold. Dendi and Era, they're still very even in terms of gold at the moment, even though Dendi's obviously found more kills. Era on the Shadow Fiend, understandably finding a lot of the creeps here.
Yeah, he has like 40 more CS than Dendi, but again, that's expected. Like the Shadow Fiend's whole role is to just eat a ton of CS, and Shadowblade now picked up here from Havos, so shout out to the 6.83 boys, the old Aquila Mask of Madness Shadowblade. You just go into the enemy jungle and look for a solo kill. And to be honest, this build is very good in terms of synergy with the team, because Nip will be playing defensive Dota for quite a while. I mean, there's 1 or 2 positioned in the woods, and if Jonas gets caught, it's going to be so bad.
He's going for the TP.
It doesn't mini stun anymore. Wait, he just moved.
Did both players forget that there was no mini stun and Bristleback panicked, or? I mean, why would you move? I guess he would have TP'd out anyway. I think he was dead anyway.
He might have been dead either way.
I think he was dead anyway, yeah.
But it was still funny to see him just move, because I think he assumed that his TP was canceled, and then he's like, oh, I'm just going to try to run, and then it was like, no, that's not how it works anymore, but still. I don't know if he would have lived.
No, I think...
Because Omni hits from the front every single time, so Bristleback does not mitigate any of the damage, which is why Juggernaut is great against Bristleback. The more you know.
There we go, Andy. I'm learning stuff here at the DreamLeague. Smoke up from NIP around the mid lane. What are they going to go for? Are they going to be able to find anything this time? Obviously, the last time we saw NIP smoke up, it was great for the side of Na'Vi.
Yeah,
this works out
that was pretty anticlimactic for any NIP fans out there. You're just like, yeah, it was awesome for the other team.
Dendi, he's going to see this one, pops down the remnant. We'll give him the flying vision of Hansken, and now Tombstone drop, the side of Na'Vi will have a nice Sonic Wave, and they bring down Dendi, but of course he's got the Aegis. He's ready for round 2. Sealkid just straight up TPs away, but the disruption will be there from Seneko. Dendi getting himself up to the high ground in position. They'll bring down the Rubik. Sealkid will fall. Dendi looking to see if he can find anything more, but the rest of the side of NIP, they're already getting themselves out. At least Era's trying to. Now, did they dive for this one, Na'Vi? Nah. Not against a team with the Earthshaker. They don't want to go too aggressive. They're going to be happy with that 1 kill. And again, a smoke attempt from NIP that really didn't work out for them.
Yeah, I think they're kind of panicking because they realize the game's not going well as Hansken. He just gets wrecked there by Dendi. That's another track kill going the way of Na'Vi.
16 to 5, and Na'Vi hammering down at the tier 2 in the mid lane, blinking away. Era left on his own really on the front lines here. They're going to need something big NIP, but the tracks, they're flying out. I really do think, especially against a team such as Na'Vi with Funny, you've got to seriously think about banning the Bounty Hunter. Because, I mean, even in a game where they killed him a lot at the start, I believe they killed him 3 times with the dust being picked up by Jonas and Fan, he's still being so impactful in this match.
Yeah, his matchup in the lane doesn't matter. Like, he can die a bunch. As long as he gets track and he has max level Shuriken, his damage output in the fights is still going to be fine. The kind of map presence that he gives you is very hard to negate. Like, you just need to know where he is all the time, and that's difficult. So you need to buy a ton of sentries and just, like, anticipate his movement, or have a team that 5-mans a lot. So when you get to the 5-man Dota stage, Bounty Hunter can pretty much only track.
They're going to try and go from this time, and with the Sentry and the Telekinesis, is it going to be enough? He's fairly tanky. He's always going to try and ward this off with the charges. Surely they find him. Yeah, this final screen will finish him off. Dendi wants to turn it around. He wants to avenge, but Echo Slam comes out from Hansken, holding Dendi in position, and will still be able to ball lightning back out of that fight. So.
You know, if he was higher level, that would have killed Dendi, because he only has level 1 Aftershock, which is a 0.6 second stun. And the echo timing was actually very nice. Like, Hansken played that well. It's just that with only a half a second disable, you can't chain your abilities together fast enough. So he needs at least, like, I think 2 or 3 levels of Aftershock to make sure that it would have been a full stun. And if that had been the case, Dendi would have just died. But maybe he knew that, man. Maybe Dendi's just on that level.
Maybe, indeed. Just the intentional Echo Slam bait there. Top lane, space has been made for Horst. He's about to find himself another tier 1, and that's going to bring him very close, if not over. Indeed, 10k net worth at 18 minutes in on your Jug. Mid lane, they're going to go in onto Jonas and Fan here with the ult from Seneko. Disruption holding in position. There's an Earthshaker. Fisher coming out, but now Dendi, he's arrived for the side of Na'Vi, straight onto Jonas and Fan. He's trying to ward this off. Era's turning up with the raises. They brought down the Undying, and now Dendi's actually got to back himself back up. Bristleback's brought low, but he isn't popped over the edge. Era, now with a haste stream, zooming about.
Get away from the tombstone, you fools!
Dendi's going to go back in. His mana's being topped up. He's ready to go in. Horst has picked off the Bristleback, and now he's going to look for more. Dendi zipping straight in. Look at these huge slows onto them all, but the telekinesis very nicely. Oh, look at this! Wow. There's an ultra. It might be a rampage for Horst. He looks for Limp. Limp denies him the rampage up to the high ground. Funnick is there, and I think he's got the Shuriken. Can he not get in range here for the Shuriken?
No, he's got to be in range.
Oh, no,
it's actually very small.
Yeah,
all right, smaller than I thought. So that was, what, a Shuriken Omni Slash or something like that?
Shuriken Omni Slash. So
and everyone exploded.
And the Shurikens bouncing around there.
That was pretty funny. Oh, Bristleback spotted out here. He is soul captured.
I think he's dead, Andy.
I think he might be dead, yeah.
Well, he's going to live for a little bit, as Bristlebacks do. Funnick walks around to the face. There we go. Gives him a little bit of a smash into the old smacker. Brings him down. And that is just Silver Edge now complete on Horst at this point.
And now they have it against the Bristleback.
Oh, but the courier's dead. The courier's dead. Thank you, Weapon. Sorry. The courier got killed.
Rip Arena.
Rip Silver Edge.
Yeah, but once the courier is alive, it means that all you have to do is auto-attack the Bristle with it once, and he dies like in the 4 or 5 seconds that the break mechanic is actually applied. And aside that, you can see the difference right now between Na'Vi and Nip in terms of net worth and experience. It's not looking pretty.
It's not, and that actual graph was before that ultra kill kicks in. So it's going to be even worse in terms of the numbers for the side of Nip. That is for sure. It's a tough game, this one. And Andy, I said the games would be even today, and actually no, I don't know why I said that, because I didn't, and I was right. The games, yeah. Maybe we'll see a comeback, Andy. I was waiting all day yesterday for a comeback. Maybe my patience will be rewarded in this match.
Well, if there is going to be a comeback from Nip in this game, it'll be now, because Era finally has this BKB.
Okay.
Now, it's a 20-minute BKB on Shadow Fiend, which is pretty slow, but we have to consider the amount of pressure that he's been under this game. His CS is still okay, but he's 1-3, and his team hasn't really been able to accumulate much in the terms of map control. They've only killed 1 tower. So there's no other means of income for Era other than just being able to sheerly hit creeps, which is not really the best way to get high GPM. And given Navi's vision right now, like, they can see a good bit of the safe lane, they can see the tier 2 and mid as well. They have a very good idea of where everyone is, so they can just play it as greedy as they like. And because they're advantaged and have very good reach with Dendi being on the Storm, they're just going to eventually choke out Nip. Like, that's the game plan, is take fights when we know we can win, and other than that, just out-farm Nip because they have to stay grouped. Like, just the Bounty Hunter being missing makes them think twice about doing anything on their own.
Of course, for the side of Na'Vi, I believe the courier is going to be back up in a few seconds. We'll be able to get that Silver Edge out to Horst on top of the Skull Basher, which he's picked up in the meantime. Mid lane, fortification will come out as Jonas and Fan trying to go in onto Artstar. Looking for the Undying, so he gets a bit of goo out. Okay, he just comes back out straight away from Artstar. He himself doing pretty well, picked up the Shadow Amulet, looking to find that Glimmer Cape. Horst coming in with a Blade Fury, just clears up the creep wave, and maybe a fight's going to kick off here. It doesn't look like enough, he want to take it. Back themselves back off to their own high ground. And now, there we go. Horst, the deliveries come out, and this Juggernaut's looking pretty scary at 22 minutes in.
Yeah, Basher, Silver Edge, Mask of Madness phase, not too bad. 9-0, 160 CS at 22 minutes. They're waiting on this Roshan that's going to be up in around a minute, and then it's going to be just game on. Oh, Handscan.
Oh, Handscan. Oh, who's just Horst? Wants to go through? Wants to go with Lip, but the bounces will bring him back to Handscan. Handscan goes down. There, I can see Dendy zip forward. The tombstone's been dropped. They've lost 2. There's going to be a buyback from the Earthshaker. They may lose more as Havor's trying to go in onto Jonas and Fan. They've still got the healing ward up on the side of Na'Vi, so it's going to be very hard for NIP to fight into. Jonas and Fan, he's actually trapped up in the trees here by the zombies by the looks of it. Will finally be able to get himself out of the jungle. Hansken with an Echo Slam onto 2 onto Dendy and Artstyle. Fisher as well holding Dendy in place. The punches from Era, they're big enough to bring down Artstyle here on the Undying, but on the side of Na'Vi, they've brought down the Earthshaker for the second time. Era will fall as well. We're going to see a TP attempt from Jonas and Fan. He does get out, but it's 4 heroes dying on the side of NIP, and that did, of course, include a dieback from the Earthshaker, and Na'Vi, they only lose the Undying.
They even expended like Shaker ulti, Requiem. They used everything that they had.
Look at the gold change on Bounty Hunter. 1,600 gold straight up from
it's
that
insane.
little fight.
It is completely insane how much money you get from track.
He's got a BKB as well now.
You know, just win a team fight casually, buy a 4,000 gold item. It's a day in the life of Bounty Hunter.
That's going to be the tier 2 in the mid lane going down as well. Jonas and Fan of Seal Kid, they're coming out, but they want to be careful. Let's see. Shadow Demon just slow down Jonas and Fan. Force him back. Yeah, it's a lot of money between these two sides being exchanged sands, coming over to 20,000 net worth difference, favouring the side of Na'Vi, coming up to the 24-minute mark. And that's your Glimmer Cape finished on and dying as well, so... I mean, he's only died twice so far this game, but I don't think he's going to be dying much more now.
Not again. No, definitely not. I mean, the thing is, he can't really even be focused in the team fights because between Juggernaut, Storm, and Bounty Hunter, there's just so much havoc in these fights that you don't have time to look and say, oh, there's an Undying, let's try to kill him first. Because just killing the Undying doesn't really matter. It's more about the Tombstone at this point than anything. And Dendy is just going to be all up in your face with a 13-charge Bloodstone, just like...
Oh, NIP, they're going to try and contest Roche, potentially. Is this really the play? They're going to try and look for it with a Fisher on Artstyle, trying to bring him down before the Tombstone gets dropped, and they do. Undying's down. There's not going to be any Tombstone for this fight. Dendy, he's zipped straight onto Era with the pull. Seal Kick getting low as Funnick pops the BKB, starts to fight. They're brought down 2 here on the side of Na'Vi, but at the same time, Na'Vi have lost 2 themselves. There's going to be a bash onto Jonas and Fan. Dendy trying to find Limp, but Limp will blink himself away. And Funnick, Avorst, and Dendy bring down Bristleback, and now they turn their attentions to Era. Era goes down as well. Triple kill to Havorst. Everyone but Limp dying on the side of NIP, and all through that, where did the Roshan go in that?
I went to Na'Vi. Yeah, they called GG.
Well.
Okay,
Yeah.
I thought so. I was like, after that fight and them also losing Roshan,
Yeah.
there's no way they can continue on. Like, the laning phase didn't go too bad for them. The biggest issue they had was the Juggernaut got free farm in lane against a Queen, right?
Yeah.
Because Artstyle was down there on the Undying, making Limp's life pretty crap. And then middle lane, Dendy never died before 6. And when you're playing Storm against heroes like Shadow Fiend, Rubik, even Shaker, and Queen, there's a lot of squish on that team to go for. So he went 4-0-4, which is like the highest possible damage build. And then the Shadow Demon just kind of hung around mid and said, hey, whenever I get a Disrupt off, our damage output is there. The Shadow Fiend's going to die. Like, Era died 2 or 3 times very early after the Storm Spirit hit 6. So there was just a ton of control coming out from Na'Vi once they had their ultimates up. Like, you have Ball Lightning on the Storm, you have Juggernaut with his ult, and you also can't really gank him because you don't have any physical damage. The Shadow Fiend needs items to hit hard, and then the Bristleback also needs items. And even though Jonas played much better in his lane than he did previously when we saw him play Furion, if Funnick dies, it doesn't matter. All he needs to do is track people, and then the Storm and the Juggernaut core just carry the team. It was a very convincing victory for Na'Vi.
Yeah, it really was, and I really think, you said it yesterday as the finishing note, Bounty Hunter, pretty good.
Pretty good hero.
You've got to be aware of him in the drafting section. I mean, do you feel you have to straight up ban him against teams like Na'Vi, or can you draft better around the Bounty Hunter?
The thing is, if you're going to let Bounty Hunter through, you need to be getting something for it. And what I mean by that is, are you getting like a really top tier hero? Because Gyro, Chen, Wisp, and who was the 4th ban out in the first phase? I cannot remember off the top of my head, but those heroes were taken out. So those are like super top tier, right? And even yesterday, we actually saw Chen go through and ended up like crushing a game super hard. But if you're going to let Bounty through, you need to have a very good strategy against it. He needs to either not be able to abuse any lane, so you need to not pick a jungler. You need to have 2 very strong lanes, or a good tri-lane and a good 1v1 against the Bounty, which Nip kind of had close to this game, except the Rubik was sitting mid most of the time. So they had a good 1v1, but the Bounty Hunter was still able to get full EXP. You need to stop his early game so he doesn't get track and then just doesn't start roaming to each lane and dismantling your very squishy, immobile heroes. So you need to pick stuff that can either move or fight as a team and also not lose your lanes. So it's actually quite a bit that you need to do to make sure that he doesn't get something.
Yeah, it's a hero that you said you've got to adapt to.
Yeah, so maybe it is worth banning. I don't know. Maybe not first phase, but definitely second phase if it doesn't get picked.
Okay. Well, we'll see if we do see Bounty Hunter come up in the draft again. It's game 2 will be right around the corner. But for the time being, we're going to send you over to a quick commercial break and then over to our host to hear what they have to say about the game. We'll catch you guys in a bit.